Welcome back to the Let's Talk Baseball podcast. I am your host, Michael Herrera, joined by my good friend, Jacob Payne, and we got some very interesting and exciting topics to talk about. Dodgers Padres Sunday night baseball. Padres look like they're gonna run the series. They get crying Kirsch is a little mean, but no, the Dodgers they got a little offense. Took a little offense to that. Take the next two great series from them. Some teams are heating up. Some teams are not. Cardinals, what are you doing? Yanks, what are you doing? The Rays, man. Listen, I know we've said how meh their schedule has been, and granted the Yankees are a meh team right now, but still, man, they are on fire on all cylinders. The Pirates is their magic out? There's teams that are hot and there's teams that are not. Let's get into it. But first, Jacob, how are you doing? How has life been treating you?
Doing good, man. Been following the Dodgers just about every game. Can't wait to talk about that Padres series that just occurred. Lot to go over, a lot to talk about. Man, I'm just very excited. The end about to finish my bachelor's degree, so that's pretty cool. But other than that, just living life large and following about as much baseball as I possibly can.
You love it. Let's start out, as you said, Jacob, in the NL West. I'm sure we are both very excited for that. Your standings as of May 8th at 4:40 p.m. You got the Dodgers. They're in first place at a nice 21-14. Your Arizona Diamondbacks at 19-15, still hanging in there. The San Diego Padres 18-17. Your San Francisco Giants at 15-18, and your Colorado Rockies 14-21. Hey, took two from the Mets. Another interesting thing. Mets, what are you doing a little bit? But yeah, let's start out. I mean, not a lot of headlines. Giants have a nice series against the Brewers. Maybe they can sneak up on some teams, wreak some havoc. Same thing with the Rockies. Diamondbacks, we can get into them a little bit. 2 out of 3 from the Nats. But the main big thing here in the West, Jacob, Dodgers Padres, Sunday night baseball. Ooh, what a series. Kirsch gets a little rocked. He gets memes by San Diego. No one liked that. No one liked that one bit. And the team especially didn't like that. How about on Saturday? Your CT two-run bomb. He's been putting it together. Dustin May, is he for real or is he for real? He has been lights out on all sides. And then last night, of course, Sunday night baseball. They rock Julio a little bit. He cools down, and then Mookie Betts, top of the ninth, never gotten a hit. 0 for 4 against Hader lifetime, and pulls a dinger the long way out to left field, and the rookies get it done in the extras. So, Jacob, let's hear, what did this series mean to you as a Dodger fan, and how can we see this rivalry accelerate throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, addressing the rivalry, people, I mean, ESPN, let me say, is hyping this up, and we have known ESPN to be embarrassing when it comes to baseball, and that's putting it lightly. They just, they do basketball. Stick to basketball, ESPN. Leave baseball to John Boy Media because that's who owns baseball. Um, eh, they it's not a rivalry. It just isn't. At least as of yet. The Padres have yet to show a constant being able to compete with this Dodger team. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they can't and that they won't in the future. It's just as of right now, it's not a rivalry. It just isn't. You can hype it up like it is. I know they play it like it is, and that it's a big series, and it absolutely is a big series. That was a big series that just occurred this past weekend. But it's not a rivalry. It's simple as that. Dodgers Giants, that's a rivalry, man. Each team has won a couple of pennants. Each team has won a couple of world championships. There's been back and forth. The Giants dominated us for a while. We dominated them for a while. It's been this back and forth, and I mean, it started all the way back in New York. I mean, that is a rival. That's a rivalry. Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees, that's a rivalry. I mean, these teams have been contending for decades, man. Like there's no question that of those types of rivalries, the Dodgers and Padres have not been a rivalry, man. They just haven't. The Padres have not been a competitive team for the longest of times now. They I in fact I don't even Have they made a World Series? I think they've made one World Series, and they didn't win it.
Let me check that right now.
Um, and it's they now is the Padres team trending in a good direction? Absolutely. And if I'm a Padres fan, I mean, I'm having the time of my life right now because they've just extended and extended and extended these big players and making big signings. I mean, that's great. That's great for them. They are spending big money. They're putting together a great roster. They've had a couple of so-so years, but that's okay. You know, not that big of a deal. But I mean, rivalry? No, it's not. Simply put, it's not. And seeing, Kershaw's crying face after game one, I mean, that's simply put, that was embarrassing. Leave that to the fans. If I see that on a Padres Reddit page or a Padres Instagram page, that's one thing. Seeing that on the jumbotron in the stadium, that is right, downright embarrassing. I've never seen that from a professional team, and maybe that's just me being um maybe that's just me not have seen that before, but I can't tell you I've seen the Dodgers ever do that. They'll play music here and there, like songs that'll kind of be funny by the organist or whatever in certain
Josh Reddick's
situations.
I saw the sign, man.
Yeah,
Always love to see it.
yeah, but I mean, disgracing a future first ballot Hall of Famer on the jumbotron after one regular season game win, one straight up embarrassing. I don't even think it would have been valid after a 3-game sweep of the Dodgers. Um, But I mean, I know there's been different people viewing it different ways. I did not take that lightly. I thought that was a big slap in the face of the Dodgers organization. I really respected the way Kershaw handled it and saying that if you don't want to see memes like that, pitch better. I think that was great of him to do that. I mean, that's what makes him the greatest of all time. At least is in Dodgers' perspective. Like he does exactly what supposed to do with that sort of bait, not take it. Don't take the bait. Let it roll off, and that's the perfect way to respond to something like that. Um, but it's just embarrassing. And you know what? I mean, all I have to say to that is just desserts. Dodgers take the next two, especially that third game, really looking like it was supposed to go the Padres' way right up until the end. I mean, Mookie was really taking a sweet time to get his swing going up and wait until ninth inning, 2 outs to rip that homer and get it into extra innings. Um, and then man, dude, the rookies coming through, and they had an opportunity early on in the game. The rookies had their opportunity early on in the game. I want to say it was the 7th inning, and like bases loaded, 1 out, bases loaded, no outs, and 3 consecutive rookies, Bush, Outman, Vargas, all had opportunities, didn't do anything, and that looked a little scary on our side of things. But to see them come through in the extra innings, that's huge, man. To see Bush come in with that opposite field single was awesome, and then Outman giving that ball a ride. Um, it was great. And honestly, I'm very happy that the Dodgers were able to pull that out, and I feel like the Padres organization, whoever put up that jumbotron meme, really got those just desserts by the Dodgers being able to take those other 2 games. It was a big series, man. It spells what we're gonna see the rest of the season. Hopefully, we're gonna see some competitive games, and I'm really looking forward to this series against the Padres coming up with the Dodgers at home.
Yeah, this weekend's gonna be a great series. But yeah, I mean this series obviously held a special place in a lot of Dodger hearts. I mean, it's the first time in San Diego since the embarrassment of on our part of what was last year's NLDS. But being able coming even after that double sweep of the Cardinals and the Phillies, didn't really get to talk about that a lot. Phillies, hey, they're hot a little bit on their side, but that's another story for later. The Dodgers have even Vargas said it, or I don't know who forgot. I think it was Muncy. This team is finding their identity, and that's what you love to see from any team, especially a team as historic and as great as the Dodgers have been in the past few years. And for them, I mean, they're relentless, man. Just relentless. Going back to last Wednesday's game, Stone got called up. He kind of got roughed up, but hey, welcome to the big leagues, kid. Here's a little taste. Here's your little dip in the little stick your toe in the deep end of the pool, if you will. But this team, again, like I said, they're finally putting things together on all cylinders. The bullpen has been solid. The rotation, outside of a few mishaps, a few runs here and there, has been great. Guys are coming back. Gonsolin gets the slab tonight against the Brew Crew. Going to be an interesting series. They have their guys pulling out this series, but this team is relentless, and this team is moving forward and more to what they've been in the past. What the opposite of what they were to start the season, with coming back, dipping their toes around 500, and now they're fully extended their lead in the first place. 1.5 games is what you love to see as a Dodger and a baseball fan. And a question for me, I don't know if you saw this today, Jacob. This kind of goes off the record of the Padres series. I mean, it is great overall team play. Besides that first game, kind of got roughed up a little bit, but overall, like I said, we're relentless. We're gonna fight. But I don't know if you saw this today, but I don't know if it's reliable or not. But an MLB insider, Jacob, said that
I sure saw. I sure saw. Absolutely.
Ohtani might run up the price with the Padres and Mets, but that he does and will go to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And don't get me wrong. Hey, that happens. That happens, and that's just true. No obligations. Come on over. But at the same time, Trevor Plouffe on John Boy Media made a great point. I mean, they most certainly have the money to do so, but with what we saw last night, you also got to find a way to keep Julio. And I hopefully, obviously, that's what every Dodger fan wants, to keep Julio. What every Dodger wants. He's been such an integral part of this organization for the past few years, and I just think, do you think they will? I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, they kind of need to at this point from a fan perspective, but can they truly keep both of them on the same team? If we're looking into this offseason little sneak peek.
I think they can, and I think they're gonna do their damn best in order to. Julio has been absolutely incredible, and that is to say the least. Over the past few seasons, he had a little bit of a hiccup at the beginning of the season, but not bad. Really, only 2 starts that went poorly. Everything else so far has been pretty great. And taking that into consideration, he absolutely deserves to get all the money that he's owed. Excuse me. And do I think the Dodgers are going to go big to try and get Shohei? Absolutely. I really think they are. And it will be interesting because if we see him come over in a trade package, then it'll be interesting because it's only for a half a season. And then the question will be extensions. Is this possible? Can we extend them? How long can we extend them for? How much can we extend them for? Are we going to see a $500 million contract? I sure would imagine at a dude of this quality. But I think if basically what I'm gathering from this information is if we see the Padres, Mets, and Dodgers all give relatively similar offers, that Shohei would pick the Dodgers. And that to me sounds great, but I mean, to one part of me thinks that sounds great, but at the same time, we are really running into some interesting places here because what the Dodgers have really loved to do is extend arbitration. And that's great and all, up until a point. And that point is really getting close for some of these guys. I mean, Will Smith, Julio Urias. I mean, those are just 2 names that are going to go big very, very soon. The question is, how long can we keep staving them off and have them accepting lower amounts of money just to be on the Dodgers, just so you can spend all that money? Now, if I am Julio Urias and Will Smith, I think and again, this is me, but I would be willing to accept lower money to get a guy like Shohei Ohtani on the team. I mean, a guy like that is a generational talent. If you've got the ability to sign him up. I'm okay with taking 20 million a year each year by extending arbitration, because realistically, 20 million, I mean, is great unless you're really just blowing money on ridiculous stuff and copious amounts of things. Um, So if I'm in that position, I would have no problem, especially if I truly want to be a part of the Dodgers organization and want to see them get better. I would absolutely accept lower amounts of money to make that happen. Um, Question is, would they? And I'll be honest, both of them don't have to. They shouldn't feel like they have to. And realistically they don't. I mean, they could test free agency and I can guarantee you both of them will get big packages from some team. Um, if it's a matter of keeping them both on the Dodgers, one of two things happens. Either A, they accept lower money and avoid arbitration, or B, everybody gets a big contract and we start to look like the Mets. And honestly, I wouldn't hate it. I mean, some of these guys deserve this money, and we got them when they were at low prices. I mean, Will Smith and Julio Rios, they came from this organization. Um, Guys like Max Muncy, we got at the low price of a box of baseballs, um, and turned them into absolute studs. And so it's a matter of what is more worth it to the Dodgers. You know, is it worth it trying to lock down Julio Urias for 10 years? In my eyes, absolutely. 100%. This guy is the next Fernando Valenzuela. I mean, seriously, he's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. He's been performing. I mean, there's no downside to signing him to a big deal. Everybody's going to absolutely love it. You're not going to see a single person say, "Wow, I wish you would have spent that money somewhere else." Not a single person in baseball would say that about giving Urias a big package here. The question is, are they willing to do that? Are they willing to spend big money on Urias, knowing that they will still be going after Shohei Ohtani? I think if you sign Urias before the trade deadline to an extension, a huge extension, that's not going to stop them from going after Shohei Ohtani. It'll be. I mean, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I'm a little bit worried, but mostly excited for this trade deadline because I think at this trade deadline, we're gonna see one of two things. We're gonna see A, the Dodgers figured out how to deal with this, or B, they either didn't pull it off or we're gonna have some real interesting talks going into free agency in the offseason. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely make the argument that, I mean, Smith and your Odious combined make up what an Otani contract would look like. And if you're talking about that, you're talking about, oh, well, Marcus Semien, Corey Seager type, you're almost spending $1 billion on 3 players, or the Yankees with Stan, Judge, and Rodon, which is, again, do these guys deserve it? 100%, absolutely. And we're going to be able to see it's going to be a very interesting question in this offseason. And again, not a lot of flashy series from the NL West this weekend. I mean, you got some nice, hey, how about the attitude against those Diamondbacks? They keeping some things going. For the Diamondbacks, they've been unreal. Corbin Carroll, phew, what a stud, man. He is, the bat comes off of his ball just so differently, and he is so fast. He is going to lead this team to great things in this year and the future. Games, Padres, good series overall as a baseball fan. Giants, hey, you're making some moves. Rockies, and not too much to say about the Rockies. Now let's move on to Jacob. Don't get me started on this NL Central, Jacob. Don't get me started. Some questions about this NL Central. Let's go from first to last. Your Pittsburgh Pirates 20-15, hanging on by half a game against the Brew Crew at 19-15. But the Pirates now have lost 7 in a row. Are they last year's Anaheim Angels? Are we going to see a 14-game, 15-game losing streak? We don't know. Then after the Brew Crew, then Chicago Cubs 17-17, hanging around at 500. The 4th place Cincinnati Reds. Hey, they've split 5 out of 5 in their last 10. They're looking decent. And the St. Louis Cardinals. My goodness, 11-24. And I'm gonna start out in St. Louis, where a lot of things, Jacob, are not going right at all, and it's not what you want to see, especially when you're facing a division rival who is 500. And the Cubs this week, Wilson Contreras goes back to Chicago. That's going to be a very emotional series for him. But some other Contreras news, he's an outfielder now. I guess that's what we're saying about him. I don't know. They said, "Oh, you're gonna play in the outfield." Oh, guess not. But but I mean, that just goes to show, kind of on the pitching side, that they're having issues with catching with Wilson Contreras. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm saying, not saying, hey, Wilson Contreras is a bad guy. He's not a bad catcher. No, but I mean, you're adjusting from one of the best, if not the best, defensive catcher of all time in Yadier Molina to Wilson Contreras. Any catcher, that's a big move. So that's a big responsibility to take on. But this team, it's just not clicking. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt, he's on fire. Nolan Gorman, he's had a nice year. But the offense, even if, and then they are clicking, this pitching, man, it's not what you want to see. Jordan Montgomery is having a great year for them, a great move. But other than that, it's basically all above 3.40 ERAs, with the mix of some nice stats from Giovanni Gallegos and Genesis Cabrera at the bullpen. But this team, man, has not been looking like the Cardinals organization. Not everything has not been going this Cardinals way of what we've seen from the past. And I just want to get your thoughts. I mean, is this a time where we're like, okay, well, it's kind of over? I mean, I don't want to say that, but they need a spark, and they need it now. If they brought up Jordan Walker, hey, maybe, you can see some things happen here and there. But this team is just looking for something, and I just cannot see them finding it soon.
Yeah, this NL Central, we were hyping this division up about a week ago, saying that all of these teams are performing except the Cardinals. And it's kind of come back down to earth. Still good stuff. I mean, you got three teams 500 or over, and then you've got the Reds who are 14 and 20. I mean, not bad, not great, but not really bad. Not Cardinals bad. Um, but yeah, getting into this Cardinals team, it's just, rewind it to how what we talked about preseason. Injuries. Injuries and just cold players, man. I mean, nobody's doing anything special really, other than Goldschmidt, who's, Paul Goldschmidt. Even Arenado's not hitting the ball well. I did see that he got a home run the other day, but like that's it. I mean, when you're losing 5 of 6 games to the Tigers and Angels, that's bad. I mean, that's just really bad.
To put it
I
in a reference real quick for you, Nolan Arenado, 10 for his last 63, 159 average, 197 OPB, 222 slugging.
that's bad, man. I mean, there's no other way to slice it. I mean, that's bad. That's really bad. And that's coming from your all-star third baseman, the guy that you spent a bunch of dollars on. I mean, it's just what it's not working in St. Louis, man. Something's not working. I just crossed the quote that Wilson Contreras said, saying that he just feels like this organization is just way better than the Cubs. And go ahead and look at the standings, my guy. Cubs are out there playing 500. Guess who isn't? Your organization that you're a part of right now that's supposedly better. Yikes. I mean, that's a bad look. And I gotta say, as much as they loved him in Chicago, if I'm a Cubs fan, I do not like that quote one bit. Not one bit. That does not sit well with me. You kidding me? Saying that this organization is better, just outright like that. Like, it's not like I feel like it's different here, and there's I miss it at home, but like this is very welcoming and whatnot. Like, that's not a good quote, man. Even if it's out of context, it's not a good quote. Like, that's bad. I would not want to be in his shoes, getting that welcoming, because I don't know what I'd be going into. Again, I know they loved him over in Chicago, but hearing that at the beginning of the season, preseason, I wouldn't like that. That wouldn't sit well with me if I heard a former Dodger talk about any other organization like that, especially a division rival. I mean, I would say that probably stings even more. If somebody went to the Rockies or the Diamondbacks or even worse, the Giants or Padres and just outright said, "Yeah, I mean, it's a better organization." Ugh, man, that would drive me up a wall. Um, but anyway, it's just not going right for these Cards, man. It just isn't. Cincinnati Reds, you gotta like what's going on there for them. I mean, it's not incredible, but it wasn't supposed to be incredible, right?
Hey, TJ Fredo, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but how's your 319 average, 366 OPP, and the 844 OPS as a rookie season? Okay, kid.
Yeah, and he just had a huge game against the White Sox. I think he drove in 4 of the 5 runs, with a 3-run home run, and an RBI single or double. Yeah, it's going really well for them. And let's disregard yesterday's game for the Reds. Let's just pretend, if you're a Reds fan, let's just pretend that never happened ever. Just that game, you didn't even play a game on the 7th. Okay, you had 2 days off, kind of cool, whatever. Um, Bad. I mean, bad, really bad. I watched the game. I think it was like 16-4 in the 4th inning. Um, and it's great that the Reds got 4 solo home runs, but it's really doesn't mean anything if Ashcraft is just gonna throw batting practice the entire 2 innings.
Hey, Hans
He's
Alberto came back, 2 home runs. Love to see that.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, let's go. Good stuff, honestly. But like I said, I mean, good stuff from the Reds in the sense that we didn't expect them to be too much, and they're performing. You know, they're not playing god awfully. They're not the worst team in baseball like they were last year, at least not yet. Um, they're out there just playing baseball and having fun, man.
They're having fun.
And that's what you want to see. You know, you want to see teams like this in a position like this go out there, play some baseball, win a couple of games, ruin some days. You know, go out there, just really ruin the White Sox day by taking a game 5-3, or ruin the Padres day by winning a 2-1 game. Like that's got to be fun in the sense that you've got no pressure on you. If you win, awesome. If you don't, oh well. I mean, that's just got to be a fun thing to do, and to not be last place in the division, you're winning. You're already winning.
Hey,
You're winning. Stay above the Cardinals, and you're winning. Okay. Um, the Cubs.
ooh, let me before I move on to the Cubs real quick.
Please
Like
go ahead.
your quote, Wilson's quote. This organization is better. Hey, I mean they called up some kids. Matt Mervis, Miguel Amaya they make their MLB debut, and Matt Mervis has some pretty big moments. And basically, I think, hey, I mean, did you see the clip of him after they got that win? Miguel Amaya just singing "Go Cubs Go" with the rest of the fans. Ooh, that's such a good feeling, not only as a player but as a fan base, to get a player like that coming up from the minors who is just so excited to be there. I don't know if I haven't seen any highlights yet, but Wilson might. I think he might get a tough crowd tonight.
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't seen anything either, but I it would be I would not go in there expecting to see cheers. Genuinely, I mean, you again, even if it's taken out of context, that is a bad look. It really is, especially with an organization you spent almost your entire career with. I mean, up to this point, that is really not good. Um, but those Cubbies, they're doing some good things
They
over
have
there. You
some
know.
magic. They took 2 out of 3 from the Marlins, who thought they had some magic, and they are just getting started. They have a let's see their schedule. They have Cardinals, of course, like we said, the Twins and the Astros and Phillies. Ooh, that's gonna be a tough May. But hey, man, when you got guys like 2019 Bellinger up in here slashing your, I don't know, 300 average, 567 slugging, and a 935 OPS and 7 homers. Ooh, sign me up for that. How's your Yan Gomes catcher with a 294 average, 839 OPS? This team is doing it, man, and they are also firing on all cylinders. Justin Steele's been great. Marcus Stroman has been phenomenal. This team is they're having fun and they're winning games, and they're doing it the right way with everybody. And that's what you love to see.
Yeah, and don't forget those extensions. Nico Horner, man, that kid, he's doing it. He's doing good things over there. You
Hap
know,
has been great. 306 average, 422.
Patrick Wisdom,
P
that
Wizzy.
kid's
Swanson starting to find it. That's what you
uh-huh.
love to see.
Especially as a Cubs fan, man. I mean, everything's starting to click for them. And again, like we kind of said at the beginning of the season, they don't have a lot of expectations right now. And so if they're playing good, that's all gravy, man. That's all gravy. I personally, I did not expect this team to come in and really do anything. I thought the Brewers and Cardinals would be sweeping this division, no contest. It would absolutely be one of those two being division winners. And right now, who knows, man? I mean, this field is wide open. Especially considering all of these teams 3-7, 4-6, 3-7, 5-5, 2-8 in their last 10. I mean, and they still got good numbers. I mean, that just goes to show you how well they were doing right before these little slumps. And it's very convenient that all the teams are slumping at the same time. Very convenient for each other. Um, so if these Cubbies, if they keep playing pretty decent baseball, it might come out of nowhere and maybe surprise you with a division title. Who knows? Maybe
I
I
know.
I find a hard time seeing a wild card spot come from this division. Um, it may happen,
May happen. Brewers are hot.
but
Pirates are not. What?
yeah,
We gotta talk about that a little bit.
we'll see.
Yeah. The Brew Crew has been a very, very interesting team. Their last series, they got a little bit rocked from your Giants. Not your Giants. Sorry, I didn't mean to phrase it like that. They're nobody's Giants here on this channel. But they've been doing it around. Brady Tellez, my Mexican stud. Ooh, I love him. He's great. Bring him over to the Dodgers. Why not? Make him play shortstop. He can do it. Nah, that would be great. I love Brady Tellez. He's been doing it. Adamas has been doing it. Anderson has your under the radar signing. But I kind of, which is not what you would expect, Jacob. Their weakness, if you had to say something, is kind of their pitching. Corbin Burns has struggled, but he's been finding it. Eric Lauer has been struggling. Colin Ray's been finding it. But you look down and it's not the ideal Brewers stat lines or pitchers that you would want to see. And that's not what you want to hear or see at all from a team that's had a rough not getting into the postseason last year with the Phillies coming up. But they have guys coming in and they're kind of getting hot like we've talked about. Some guys that are not hot though. I think Christian Yelich, you got to get it going now. I mean, the rookies have been kind of holding their own. Garrett Mitchell has been slowing down, but he's still been great. Bryce Terang has been a little bit here and there, standing with Joey Weimer. But I feel like if you don't get guys like Christian Yelich, guys like Jesse Winker, firing on all cylinders. I mean, William Contreras is hot, which is what you'd love to see. But if you don't get these guys firing on all cylinders, and your pitching is kind of staying around this kind of half great, half not okay mark. I mean, I don't, like you said, we don't expect the wild card coming out of the spot. If they don't figure it out with the one or two players here and there, people start going in, getting injured, or people start slumping. This team can have a major downfall like last year.
Yeah, the good thing, like I said before, everybody's slumping at the same time. And it's a really good time to go 4-6 in your last 10 when the division leader goes 3-7 in their last 10. Um, and honestly, if the Cardinals are not going to be performing this year, this is the Brewers' division to lose, man. I mean, realistically, you take every team on paper in that division and take the Cardinals into account that they're playing poorly. The Brewers own this division. And it's no question. I mean, we can sit here and argue about that all day, but you're never going to convince me that the Brewers don't own this division currently as it stands. Have the Pirates been playing better? Absolutely. Have they been slumping? Absolutely. If they didn't slump, wouldn't they be way, way more ahead? Absolutely. But still, that being said, this is the Brewers' division to lose. And if the Cardinals continue to be not in contention, this is the Brewers' year to lose. And if they end up losing that, that's not good, man. I mean, again, taking nothing away from what the Pirates and the Cubs are doing right now, if the Brewers lose this division, I think alarms start to go off. If the Cardinals are not your number one contender right now, you should have first place on lock, no doubt.
100%.
Now, is it that big of a deal this early in the season that they're not in first place? No. Nothing to worry about. They're still 19 and 15, 559 win percentage. They're half a game back. Not the issue. Not a big issue. Okay. Nothing really terribly scary to talk about there. 4-10 stretch, that happens all the time. We've seen the best of teams go for 4-6 in their last 10. That's not an issue. Honestly, if they were to lose a couple of more and have a decent size slump, not an issue. But this Brewers team does need to get it together soon enough and start acting like the top dog in this division.
I
Or
agree.
guess what? One of these teams is going to take that away.
They have a tough schedule ahead of them. Granted, the Dodgers, then the Royals, not a team you would expect to be facing. But hey, like we said, this division can be jumbled in an instant with how good and how bad these teams have been in the past. If the Cardinals find their spark, they face them next week. Then they have to go on to face the Brewers has to face the Rays, Astros, Giants, who they got beat up on, the Blue Jays, and the Reds, who are all of a sudden playing like an actual team. This Brew crew has the chance. They need to stay afloat. They don't need a spark in their lineup, but they need to keep it. Because if they don't, like you said, I think it can be so easily taken away from them. Because I do agree that they should be the top dogs in this division. But as of right now, Jacob, the top dogs who aren't playing like their top dog self, the Pittsburgh Pirates, what's happening? Some questions, some fired the alarms a little bit. They're lost 7 in a row. They are winning 2-0 bottom 7 against the Rockies right now. So if they can pull that out by the end, that would be great for them. But some guys are starting to slump, man. Jackson Winsky, 233 average. Same thing in the McCutcheon, 233 average. Andujar, who's looking great, 208. G-Man Choi, 125. Some guys that aren't getting the job done that you would want to, that they were getting the job done when you were all hot. Vince Velasquez, his health has become a little bit of a question, and he was great. Mitch Keller has been fantastic. But again, you are seeing these guys kind of falter over the line. They got rocked, absolutely rocked. I believe the run differential by the Blue Jays this weekend, they were outscored by the Jays 22-3 in 3 games. That is not what you want to see from a Pittsburgh Pirates team that has been so electric. Going back to their series against the Rays, they struggled. They got outscored what, 15-3? It's not what you want to see. Overall, for the last 2 series, that's what? 15-22. That's a 37-6 run differential. That is not good for anybody. So can this team pull it out, or is this team going to go back and falter? To back where they were in the third or fourth place team? Because the more and more I'm looking at this team, the more and more fatigue I see from this team.
Yeah. A couple of things to unpack with the Pirates. First of all, did they lose a lot of games in the last 10? Yes. Who did they lose them to? Well, they lost them to the Rays, who are supposed to be the best team in baseball currently, and they lost the Blue Jays, who are another really good team in the AL East. So, is that absolutely terrifying for the Pirates fans? No, it shouldn't be. The bad thing is we were hoping that this team was legit and would put up some contention against these top dog teams. And I would have said that they are ready to put up some competitive games against these top dog teams if these games were closer. They were not all that close. 1-4, 1-8, 2-3, 0-4, 2-8, 1-10. Just not great. Not great lines there. And that's not what you want to see from a team that you were hoping would be competitive. That being said, still early on in the season. Still got plenty of time to make up for lost time. Just means you're gonna have to do it with some harder teams. The Rockies, they should be taking those games pretty candidly. The coming up with the Tigers. Once again, same thing. Then you got to face the Orioles, Diamondbacks, and Rangers. Three teams that maybe at the beginning of the season you would have seen playing, not an issue, but right now, kind of an issue. All three of those teams are playing pretty well. So we have got to see this Pittsburgh Pirates team really pick it up. Um, and do it soon. The better these kids can play early on, the better chance they're gonna have of making some waves.
Kind of the same thing with the Rays right now. I mean, the Pirates are off to a great start instead of the Rays. If the Rays fall towards the whenever throughout the season, they have this incredible lead above basically everybody but the O's to kind of backfire. Like if they lost 7 in a row, I'm pretty sure they'd be like, probably still gonna be in first or second. So if the Pirates can come back and pick some of those games up, I can definitely see this team kind of having that same situation. But I agree with you. They need to keep it going. All right, let's move on to. Oh, before I move on, Jacob. Speaking of Wilson Contreras' comeback, yes, he gets that nice little standing O and the intro before the game. But usually it's that first game where you're like, okay, yay, welcome back, you're hit. Yeah, it's happened with Bellinger. I was there. People were cheering him on. The next day you hear the boos. This was
Okay, okay, but he did rob the Dodgers of a home run. Okay, he deserved those boos, and I'm very happy that he took them like a champion. Okay, because he could have got butt hurt getting booed by the Dodgers fans, but he robbed a home run from us. Okay, he did what he was supposed to do, being a great defensive
defender.
player, and we did what we were supposed to do in booing him for robbing us of a home run. Okay, and he took that like he should have. He kind of gestured at the fans like, why are you booing me? You know I do this thing. You know I do that whole home run robbery thing. Yeah, I'm like that. That was all in good fun, and that was great. And that was realistically the only reason why he was getting booed is because everybody loves Bellinger, but everybody loves to make fun of him now that he had robbed us of a home run. So I think those were a little bit of different circumstances, but I see where you're getting at. Standing O day one, day two. Now it's game time. Now you're a real competitor. No more Mr. Nice fans.
It's been game time first AB. He got a single and he brought on the booze and he took him like a champ. He said, bring him on right now. Watching a look flip. But yeah, not a great thing you want to see from such an integral part of that organization the past few years. But let's move on to the East, Jacob, or the East. The East are a very interesting place to be a part of right now. They are a very interesting team. In first place, you got the Atlanta Braves. Second place, the Miami Marlins. Third place, the New York Metropolitans. Fourth, Phillies. And fifth, the Washington Nationals. Nationals, not a lot to unpack here. Rough series against the Diamondbacks. Josiah Gray finally breaking out for them, which is what you love to see, but not a lot to hit there. I think the main point of discussion, Jacob, for this East right now, I mean, Braves are hot, Phillies are hot, Marlins are not. The New York Mets, oh boy, they are meeting their season, and it's May. Yikes. Scherzer is happy. He's coming back with Verlander, his best bud. But oh boy, Jacob, they got swept by the Detroit Tigers and then lose 2 out of 3 to the Colorado Rockies. Let that sink in. A team with a pitching staff of, I don't know, Scherzer, Verlander, David Peterson, Kodai Senga. A bullpen, again, not with Edwin Diaz, but of still David Robertson. Guys like Brooks Raley, who are supposed to be getting the job done. They're not. And like we said, hey, Eddie Diaz is gonna being out is gonna bring some problems for this bullpen, and it most certainly has. Outside of guys like your David Robertson, again, 0.63 ERA, Drew Smith, 2.08 ERA. The hitting, Pete Alonso, ever since his hot streak, has royally slowed it down. he has a 235 average. Lindor, a 217 average. Brandon Nimmo, hey man, firing on all cylinders, claps to you, because you've been the hot spot for this lineup. But other than that, man, this team is just slowing down on all cylinders, and I don't think it's time to hit the wee woo button yet. But if you're gonna have stints with Pete Alonso in his last 15, 9 for 55, 164 average, 233 OPB, 309 slugging, and it's not just Pete Alonso with those stats. You don't want to see that, especially from a Mets team that has poured probably at this point, if you counted it up, billions on this team in the past 2 years. Whether it's construction moving in the walls, whether it's players, whether it's a new jumbotron. This team, man, I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, I think they're positive. They're 500, which is what you love to see. They're sticking around there, but I think they need a spark too. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're gonna go out and make a trade, make a splash early on. But I think, Jacob, in order to survive in a division where 4 teams are competitive, you need a spark, and you need it now. I'm gonna go back to what I said with the Cardinals.
Well, Michael, when we started talking about baseball, I told you that there were 2 franchises currently that are just cursed. Just straight up cursed. What were those franchises that I told you they were?
The Angels and the Mets.
And I mean it's just true. I mean, look at the past years, man. Both teams have built teams that look on paper that they should be doing something. I mean, something at minimum, and just turn into absolute crap shows. Just nothing, nothing going. The Angels we'll get into soon enough, but they're treading water so far. The Mets, 6 games against the Detroit Tigers and the Colorado Rockies, 2 of the worst teams baseball's got to offer right now. And not only do you only win 1 of those 6 games, but you lose a 5-6 game. You get shut out by the Detroit Tigers. You lose 8-1 to the Detroit Tigers. You win a 1-0 game in Colorado. That is nothing to celebrate. That is far from celebration. You are beating a Colorado Rockies team that is hot garbage by 1 run in Colorado. That's embarrassing. Losing 2-5 and losing 6-13. Good God, that is horrific. That is absolutely horrific. The past 5 days has been absolutely ugly on the side of the Mets, and that is not good. Here's the silver lining to things. Can you start to pick things up with the nice week you have ahead of you in the Reds and the Nationals?
That's going to be a couple games they need to take 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 6, because you know who's next after that, Jacob? The Tampa Bay Rays.
7 games versus the Reds and the Nationals. I'm telling you right now, Michael, you need 6. If you want to get back into these standings right now, the way they're situated, the way your schedule's situated, you need 6 of 7 here. 5 of 7 you can live with. 4 of 7 not acceptable. Anything below that, sound the alarm, because this is not good. This is really not good. In a division where the Phillies are starting to figure themselves out, the Braves are flying, and the Marlins, they're competitive, I
They're
guess.
hanging on, man. I mean,
They're
what have
a
they been
baseball team.
doing?
Yeah, they're a baseball team that wants to. Hey guys, I'm here. I'd like to win some games and cause some problems. If they can do that, I'll be happy. Honestly, I would love to see them just wreak havoc
Luis
in the East.
Arias, 420 average in the 112 at bats. What can you say, man? It's just beautiful. You love to see. Continue.
Yeah, no. So I mean this East Division, I don't need to get into too much, but like the Nationals aren't complete hot garbage right now. The Phillies have certainly got better. They had a little rough for the last 10 games, going 4-6, but they got swept by the Dodgers. So I mean, take that into consideration. Um, and they just got back their big slugger, Bryce Harper, with one of the fastest recoveries we've ever seen of Tommy John. I mean,
Hit a
that's just
nice
that's
Oppo
wild, man.
Taco against the Red Sox.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, that's really good for them. That's what they need. Um, the Mets, we're really close to that scary line. Like really close to that scary line. It's one thing to if you're the Mets losing to some top teams right now. Like if you're getting beat up on by the Braves and the Brewers and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, cool, whatever. Sure. But the Detroit Tigers? What? Oh my God, you got swept? Oh, that's horrific. I mean, like I said, if we see this Reds game, this Reds and Nationals series, we got 7 games. They don't go over 500. Sound the alarms. It's bad. It's catastrophic. It's a catastrophe. Um, the Marlins, great for them. I love to see them performing. Right now, they're 5-5 in their last 10. They're almost 500. Keep causing problems. Just be a nuisance. Are you going to win the division? No, you're probably not going to win the division, especially with the Braves playing really well right now. If they continue that, they're not going to relinquish this top seed to anybody, much less the Marlins. But keep causing problems, man. Just be a problem. That's what the Marlins can do right
They're
now. They can just
pests.
cause issues. They can ruin dreams right now. And that is great. That is a fun place to be. I mean, you're not necessarily competitive, but if you can ruin dreams, I can only imagine that's got to be fun. To just make grown men cry when you beat them. That's got to be fun. And the Braves. I mean, what are you gonna tell? We've talked about this Braves team.
Take two out of three from the O's, man. That walk
They're
off
good.
is they're
They're
back.
good. They're only getting better. They're powering up, man. And I'll be honest, as a Dodgers fan, I'm scared. That's not good for us. It's really good stuff what they're doing in Atlanta. And you know what? Who cares who they've signed, who they've extended, who they lost, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're playing great baseball right now, and hopefully for their sake, they continue doing what they've been doing this past couple weeks.
Absolutely. They've been hot. They've been amazing. And that concludes your NL. Let's go on to the AL. And let's breeze over the Central. Not a lot of big topics to hit. Some guys struggling for the Twins, and they need to keep it up because your Guardians are coming in fast and hot. But you know, Jacob, who's coming in fast and hot? Your third place, 3 games behind Detroit Tigers. I told you, Jacob. I said, I don't know if this shows how well they're playing right now or how bad the White Sox and the Royals are. But I told you, I said, do something for Miggy, even if it is as deep or as low as causing problems and being pests. And boy, are they doing that right now. They are leading the Guardians 5-2 in the top of the eighth. They have a 3-game set against them. If they can come up and win this series, are you kidding me? They're coming and they're coming in hot. Baez has been hot. He's been hitting the ball a little bit well. He's been hitting some homers. McKinstry, our guy, he's been great. Riley Green has been figuring it out. A lot of guys for figuring it out for this team, and it's what you love to see. For the sake of Miguel Cabrera, let's keep it going. Not even 500 at this point, but just keep it going, at least to some extent. Get him some happiness so that he can know that this organization is going to a better place in the future. The White Sox and Royals. Not a lot you want to see or hear from either of these teams right now. The Royals got lost a series to the A's, but hey, good on the A's. They won their first series of the year, first starting pitcher win of the year. 33 games in. Oof. The Royals and White Sox got a series. I think the White Sox need to sweep the Royals here just to have some hope coming back. But the Royals, not much you can say. prayers to Ryan Yarbrough. I just saw he had head fractures. The last thing I heard after taking that ball off the head, that is horrible for anybody, and you hate to see that. Hoping him for recovery time. White Sox, like we said, they take 2 out of 3 against the Reds, which is kind of you expect from the White Sox. You should be winning or sweeping that series, but the Reds have been playing nice. They're causing problems. They won 17-4 yesterday. Yikes. I mean, yikes on the Reds. Go White Sox. You should be taking those games in any chance. But they're a team that the White Sox, we don't know where they are. I've grown some respect for them as they've been able to put some wins and win some series. But again, they're the White Sox, and I think they need to get it going soon. Not soon. Now, if they want to have any shot at being competitive in the Central, when all teams aren't that great. This is both Centrals. This is the time. If you need to step up right now. This week we can see a drastic change in both these Central divisions. Let's move on. Unless do you have any notes here in the Central, Jacob?
Not a lot. Obviously, looking at this Central, it's not as bad as we thought it would be. We thought the Twins and Guardians would be a little bit lower, but still competitive, and we thought the Tigers, White Sox, and Royals would all be just completely dog water. And to be fair, the Royals and the White Sox are living up to that, up to this point. Considering the White Sox have taken 5 of their last 10 and they're only 12-23. Eek. But the Tigers, man, I mean, like we said, break some hearts, make grown men cry. That's what they did. Sweeping the Mets, I can guarantee you there were plenty of grown men crying. Being swept by the Tigers. Yeeh. Yeah, I mean, not a lot to talk about. Surprisingly, still competitive this division with Twins, Guardians, and Tigers apparently are in contention right now. And like you said, we can see some things flip over these next this next week or so. We might be coming back in a week and seeing a different landscape here in the Central. Who knows? Maybe the Tigers will actually register themselves as a baseball team this year and compete. Um, we'll see. But yeah, I mean that's really it. The White Sox hot garbage, the Royals hot garbage, Guardians so kind of what we expected to be. The Twins a little bit under what we expected them to be, but also still not bad. We'll see. We'll see what happens. This division, it's interesting. Maybe not as interesting as some other ones, but interesting nonetheless.
An interesting division, another 14 contention division. Let's move on to the AL West, where boy, I've got some notes to hit. Is it fire the alarm time for your not anybody? Sorry again, your Houston Astros. They are 17-17. Luis Garcia out for the year with Tommy John. Their only guys doing it offensively are Jordan and Tucker. Without them, this team might be 4th place, might be 5th, God forbid. But they're tied right now with the Seattle Mariners, 17-17, and the Mariners, they've looked like they found it, Jacob, and that's what I love to see. They're 6-4 in their last 10. They've won their last 2. This team, they're finding their identity, and they're finding it in a time where they need to, and I love that for them. Teoscar Hernandez has been hitting the ball very well over his past few games. Jared Kelenic has still been hot. J-Rod's finding it. Cal Raleigh's finding it. Pollock's hitting when he needs to hit. This team, kind of like the Dodgers in a way, is relentless from a rough start, and they are coming back on all cylinders. How's I forgot the rookie's name, Bryce Miller. 12 innings, .75 ERA, .42 whip, and 15 strikeouts with 1 win. Welcome to the Bigs, kid, when they really needed it.
I saw that he is the second pitcher since 1901 to go 2 starts into his career, go more than 6 innings each start, and I think it was more than 6 strikeouts each start, and fewer than 2 hits. 2 hits or fewer. That's just I mean that's incredible. I mean that's a dream start to your career. Question is, how long can you keep that up?
Exactly, and they kind of need him to, which is kind of if you're going about the A's. I mean, Mason Miller comes up. I think that was his name. If I butchered it, I'm so sorry. But he came up and he has some nice starts to his career with the A's, but they don't got no pressure on him. Bryce Miller kind of has to be this new, all right, kid, you're getting thrown in a Robbie Ray spot in the rotation. Good luck. But he's been proving himself greatly, and he's been doing phenomenal. Luis Castillo's been phenomenal. George Kirby has been great. This team is getting hot, and that's what you love to see, and you hope to keep it up. The Astros, man, I want to get into them and dissect them a lot right now because they are, whew, not great. Jose Abreu has a 224 average. Yikes. The Angels. Hey man, what are they? They are what? 1 game, 2 games, sorry, out of first place. That is what you love to see as an Angel fan. Hey, every win is an inch closer to having Otani step. And in my eyes, Dodger fan, hate it. Baseball fan, get not only Otani, get Trout to the playoffs, please. At least once, maybe. Even as a baseball fan, I would love to see Otani go. But if you can get these guys a playoff spot this year, hey, good for them. Let's send out Otani with a bang. And they've been proving that. They granted the Rangers just kind of beat them up like horribly. How to use Brett Phillips again. By the way, don't even get me started on the Rangers and how good they are. Eovaldi is a stud to say the least. But Hunter Renfroe for the Angels has been great. Mike Trout's been great. Drury's been hot. Otani's been doing it. How about Anthony Rendon? 291 average, 418 on base. Granted, a 360 slugging, but there are guys getting it done. Patrick Sandoval has been outstanding. Otani on the pitching side has been outstanding. This team is getting the job done, and it doesn't look like they want to stop. They're not obviously don't want to stop, but they are using every inch of motivation of keeping Shohei to keep it hot in that division, which is what you love to see. The Rangers, hey man, the Rangers are for real. Holy crap. Josh Jung has been great. 258 average, 308 OPB, 808 slugging. But yeah, man, I mean this West, like we said about the Central teams, the Central divisions can be shaken up really fast. While some teams are hot in this West, I just don't see the Rangers falling off. No matter how well these teams do. Is that just me?
Well, the Rangers, they're playing great right now, and hopefully that continues. I'd love to see the Rangers be a successful team. The thing that we were talking about at the beginning of the season is health. Big thing that we thought would be a big blow is if Jacob deGrom goes out with an injury, and we've obviously seen him do that. But guess who is stepping it up and putting the team on his back and being the ace? That is, of course, the one and only Nathaniel Uvalde. That guy he's rolling back the years. He's had 2 consecutive incredible starts. And that's great for him and the Rangers. The Angels, I mean, they're making it happen. They're making it work. It's not always pretty baseball on their part, but it's getting the job done. It's getting those wins. The Astros, we said that their depth is not like it's used to been, and that is clearly being an issue right now. Man, are they missing Altuve? They cannot score runs to save their lives. And their pitching, man, their pitching is just not what we thought it would be. Granted, I know there's a couple of guys out with injuries, but man, some of these starters are just not up to par. And these bullpen guys, they cannot get it done. They have not yet been able to get it done. It's crazy what we're seeing with the Astros. Something we didn't expect them to be. We thought if this division was going to be competitive, it was going to be competitive at a much higher win-loss ratio than it currently is. We thought the Astros would probably be the top dogs, maybe 24-9. And everybody else, if they were going to be competitive, they had to be up there. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing 2 competitive teams at 17-17, which again, right now, not that big of an issue. But down the line, if we keep playing 500 ball, Not going to be able to take that spot away from those Rangers. The Mariners, they're playing well right now. I mean, what can I say? They're really starting to get it done. They're finding their groove. They're back to 500. Hopefully, within the next few days, they'll be above 500. We'll see those that win percentage go up, and we'll see them start to climb those leaders. And like you said, it's another competitive division where we could be seeing some change real soon. Real soon. Within the next two series, we could
especially
see these on its flipped on its head.
with a lot of interdivision series, Rangers facing the A's and the Mariners over the next week. The Astros facing the Angels, then the A's, then Angels, then the White Sox, Cubs, then the A's. But still, you're gonna have a lot of teams facing each other within this division, and if you can have bounce back series with teams like the Mariners and the Astros, who need to come up against these teams like the Rangers and the Angels, uh, that would be great for them. The Angels are definitely, however, I know they praised them a second ago, but they are showing some fatigue and they are kind of showing it bad in a lot of places more than you would like to. And if you get to that point where you're losing 6, 10, God forbid another 15-game losing streak like last year, what if we have a 7-game losing streak? I think it's part of the alarm time, but we'll get to that when we get to that if that happens. But like we said, if the Astros keep falling down this rabbit hole of not production, if they don't go 500 in May, and they ended up in 4th place though, or 3rd place. Is it fire the alarms time, or do you think, oh, okay, it's the Astros, they're gonna come back? Because granted, they have a great organization, and Altuve's back soon, but if they don't get a good May going, I just don't see them coming back from that.
Look, man, I'm a firm believer in that one person can't make or break your team. And so if you're just waiting on Altuve to come back and spark your team, that's not good. That's not a good thing. Um, that's not good in the sign of in the eyes of the Astros organization. Um, and they've taken some hits that aren't going to be coming back. Was it Javier that needed Tommy John?
Luis Garcia, he's gone.
Garcia. He needs Tommy John, man. That's bad news. That's real bad news. Um, it's not it's not that at that point yet to start firing off that alarm, but I agree, man. If we go through May and we're not seeing this Astros team above 500, especially after Altuve comes back, maybe it's starting to get alarm time. Especially so if the Mariners, Angels, and Rangers continue to play good baseball. If that continues, the Astros are in for the first time, not being in the playoffs since 2016. And 2016 was the last time that this team was 500 or below this late into the season. That's, I mean, right now it's not that big of an issue. It's not scary yet, but it's not great. If it gets any worse, bad news.
Definitely not what you want to see. I mean, before the season, you expect, okay, they're a lock for the ALCS. If the season were to end right now, they're not nowhere near playoffs, which is whoa. It's not what you want to see at all as a baseball fan. But we'll get into it when if by come May time, come the end of May, we're doing our second month recap and they're not 500. Yikes! Astros, fire the alarms. Let's move on to our final division with the AL East. The Tampa Bay Rays 28-7. My goodness, 800 winning percentage. Baltimore Orioles 22-12. Love to see it, my O's. The Toronto Blue Jays, they keep firing on all cylinders. 21-14. Boston 21-15. And I'm sorry, Jacob. The New York Yankees 18-17 last place. What? We'll get into them later. Quick team to breeze over right now. The Toronto Blue Jays, they sweep the Pirates, which is what you love to see as a Blue Jays fan. Yeah, we're still kicking and rolling. Chris Bassett has a bounce back start. That is what you love to see if you're a Jays fan. Their guys are getting it done. Bichette is just the real deal now. Vladdy's the real deal. Matt Chapman is keeping it going. Varsho's finally figuring it out. Springer's been but Kirk, even Kiermaier, he wasn't even brought in the hit, and he's been hitting. Belt has been great for them. And their pitching, Jacob, like I said, Bassett has been back. Manoah has been back. Gossman has been who he is. They're only getting better. And that's what you love to see as a baseball fan. But what you not love to see, the New York Yankees, man. Like we said with the Cardinals, not a lot of depth to go around here. And like you just said, you're not a believer in one man carrying a team. Judge has been putting the Yankees on his back dating back to last summer. And he's out. And it is not looking like he might be coming back anytime soon, I think. Let me check if he's somewhat near or if he is back. I don't know. He
I
might be.
think I think originally the projection was 6 weeks. I might
Yikes.
be wrong, but
Yeah.
that's what I thought I remember hearing.
Okay, well, now that I see it, his apparently Judge is ready to go. He is back apparently tomorrow. So yeah,
Okay, yeah.
that is what you love to see as a Yankees fan. But hey, man, like you said, it's kind of the same thing with the Astros. If you're just waiting for Judge to get back and then we're going in, you got some ground to cover if you want to not even make playoffs, but try to get to first. They are 10 games back at first right now and are at a what, 4.5 game difference from second place with the Orioles. That's not what you want to see. And it's kind of questioning, like, what are we doing? I mean, Torres has not been firing on cylinders. Bader's been back. That's what you love to see. He's been hot. Like, whoa. But Cole's getting lit up a little bit here and there. Their pitching is not holding their own. I should say starting pitching because their bullpen has been pretty solid. But this rotation, man, they need Rodon or Severino soon. Like, absolutely. They need him now. Because if they don't get him now, yikes. Fire the alarms because we're at that point, Jacob. What do you think?
Look, I'm gonna be honest. I like seeing the Yankees lose. I'm gonna go out there and if I catch some hate for that, that's okay. I like. I mean, it was the same thing when the Patriots were winning everything in football. I like seeing them lose. So, you know, give everybody else a chance. Let them take a rebuild year. Probably the first time in 3 decades they've probably uh needed a rebuild year. I can't remember the last time the Yankees needed a rebuild year. But anyway, I like seeing them lose. And honestly, what I saw them against the Rays series, I did not like what I saw. When Randy Rosarena hit the home run first pitch of their outing in the first inning, and then get pegged twice, and then the umpires having to confer to warn them. I mean, first time they should have got a warning. Second time should have been an automatic ejection.
That is not,
No,
yeah, it was
no doubt
horrible.
about it. And then Kevin Cash absolutely had a right to get upset about that. And then to see the Yankees bench and their coaches just yelling "fuck you" to the team, the Rays team. I mean, it's just uh awful. I just completely awful. What I saw from them, it really just upsetting to watch. Honestly, I felt like we were past this era of baseball of pegging guys that hit home runs and pimp their home runs. I mean, it's a new age baseball, and if you don't like it, stop playing baseball, stop watching baseball, get out of it. It's we don't have room for these old blood guys who like to see guys get pegged in the head and ran over at bases. Get that stuff out of here. It's not. There's no place for that in this game. At least not in today's age of baseball. So that's first time. I'm okay with it being a warning. Especially if you buzz the tower, automatic ejection. Automatic ejection. You throw at him in his lower half, maybe behind him. Okay, that's still a little old timey baseball, but I'm cool with that being a warning. Second time automatic ejection, no questions asked. Don't even need to confer with your umpire crew. I don't know what that conference is about. You know exactly what it's about. This guy pimped a home run first inning and then gets hit twice. There's no question what that's about. You automatically eject him. I just don't know how that's not happened. And honestly, you not only do you eject him, you eject the manager. I mean, we've seen that happen before, where guys get thrown at because of home runs, and you see the manager get ejected as well. And and that's the right thing to do. I mean, if you're telling your team to throw at a dude after he hits home run, you get ejected. Get out of here. Get that stuff out of baseball. I don't want to see it anymore. Um, so that left a really bad taste in my mouth personally. From the Yankees, and honestly, they've been playing like crap. Like I said, I like to see it. Um, can't say that about the rest of this division. The worst record in their last 10 games in this division is the Blue Jays at 5-5, and honestly, that's not bad. You got the O's at 6-4, and you got the Rays and Red Sox at 8-2. Wow. I mean, I genuinely didn't think that this division would be this competitive so far. And honestly, realistically,
Right.
if you actually look at it, it's not terribly competitive if you really think about it, because the top of the top is 800 win percentage, 28-7.
They
But then you
have 8 guys over an 800 OPS.
again, I mean, you got to be taking this with a grain of salt. They haven't been playing good teams. The Pirates turned out that they weren't playing good teams very well, so they got another series of good baseball. And then they had to play the Yankees, who suck right now. So, um, we'll see with the rest of this month. But the rest of these teams, I mean, this is a great division to be watching, to just be a part of. This has got to be fun. I mean, yeah, it's got to be stressful, and yeah, it's got to be tough. But man, this has got to be fun to be competing like this. I mean, you even the Rays are not shouldn't be slowing down right now. You don't have a comfortable lead against these O's, Blue Jays, and Red Sox. You're only 7.5 games above these guys at an 800 clip.
Yeah.
You're winning games at an 800 clip. You're only 7.5 games up. That's not comforting. You got to keep winning. Um, so we'll see how that goes. But man, this division's just fun to keep tabs on, man, because the Red Sox are getting better. Everybody else is staying the same.
Yoshida is a
I mean, this
stud.
is crazy.
Their pitching has been kind of questionable, but the Red Sox, they're going. Orioles, I mean, they're down. I think it was the last time I saw 2-0 end of the eighth to the Tampa Bay Rays in Baltimore, which is whoa. But the Rays, man, like you said, not facing the greatest teams right now. They lose a guy who was a stud for them, Garrett Clevinger. Our guy, he was traded to them last year, ACL tear out for this season. And you kind of see this kind of fatigue a little bit from some of these guys, Jalen Beeks, Calvin Foucher, who's been they've been relying on some of these guys who are again kind of showing some fatigue here and there, but their rotation is brilliant. They've been doing it, and they do not seem like they're stopping. But like we said, their next stretch, their May, Jacob, coming up. Let's see, they have Orioles, Yankees, Mets, Brewers, Jays, Dodgers, Cubs. If they go out 500 by the end of this May, I think we can finally start saying, okay, this team is legit.
Absolutely, absolutely. If they go through the rest of this May and they play 500 ball, they're real. They are for real. Okay? Absolutely. The difference, because we've seen this before from another AL East team last season that started out super, super hot. And guess what? That was their saving grace. Because if they didn't start out that hot, they fell off at the end of the season. I mean, horrifically bad. So bad that they almost blew, I think they were up by like 20 games at one point. Like something ridiculous. And they almost blew that lead to the point where they almost didn't make playoffs. Would you, man, I gotta say that would have been so awesome if they would have been up that far and then just blow it right at the end. I mean, that would have been worse than the Mets collapse.
Ooh,
Um, but it, the Rays right now ride this high. Win every single game you can. Who cares? Who cares if you've got an easy schedule? I wouldn't listen to the haters. Don't listen to me. That's fine. Whatever. Keep winning your baseball games. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter that you're winning against the Pirates or winning against the Reds or winning against the Nationals or winning against the Tigers. Who cares? Keep winning. You're 28-7. You don't need to listen to anybody. Who cares? Keep winning your games. So, hey, you know what? If I'm them, pay it no mind. Just keep winning your baseball games. And like I said, if you go 500, everybody else will consider you real. Everyone else will consider you for real. If you go anything below 400 in this May, then we'll get into those talks of, wow, you may be 28-7 right now, but the only reason you're 28-7 is because you've been playing garbage teams or good teams at good times. So we'll see. We will see how the Rays fare.
Yep, and that will conclude our episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Let's talk baseball. We'll have another episode coming out Friday. Knock on wood, no more AP tests, so we should be good to go. Some final notes here, real quick. Mitch Keller shutout against the Rockies for the Pirates as they snap their losing streak. He breaks the Pirates streak of 370 games without a starting pitcher complete game. So snaps to him. Good for him. Dodgers losing 3-0 and don't want to talk about that. Thank you for joining us. I'm Michael Herrera, my good friend and co-host. We will see you next time.